It is 12:32 in the morning on Sunday, May 18th. I am home and I am so tired. I got up at 7 a.m. today. Been awake for, nearly 18 hours, 17 and a half. And throughout that entire time, it has been constantly doing things. I had to take an exam. I did a 7-hour drive. I unpacked everything. I went out to dinner, and now I am doing this. So, now that the semester's over, and everything is still fresh in my mind, I think now is a good time, more than any, to reflect on this academic year. And I know I didn't talk about the first semester of this year because I wasn't doing this to begin with. And I'm going to be honest, it was a fun semester. I felt like I was really kind of finding my groove. Did I like chemistry? No. But I was in interesting, I was in an interesting computer science class. It was an interesting, lecture. And learning Japanese was fun. I was getting with the team. I was being a lot more social, doing a lot more things than I did. And I at least had 4 weeks of not absolutely despising my roommates. But that got downhill pretty fast when I figured out that the smell coming from my room was my roommate's bong. And that was about 2-3 weeks in. So that was a pretty big, big problem. And the week before my fall break, I think I had out of 6 days, I had a total of, I think, about 25 hours of sleep. And that is actually, no exaggeration. My roommates decided that they wanted to stay up every single night and be on their computer. And I got sick, really sick. Probably the worst I've been. When I came home, I, literally got, hot flashes and, literally sweat through my bed and, into my pillow and my, mattress topper. It was, really bad. And I think that was literally because of genuine sleep deprivation. And that's when I decided that I really disliked my roommates. So that was pretty much the only negative. And then the January term was fine. I took a backseat for academics and really prioritized me having fun. I started to not care about my roommates and just did what I wanted to do when I wanted to do, which was so good for my mental health. Just imagine this, is that you hate being in a room with your roommates so much because they're dirty, they're gross, they're insensitive, they're selfish, entitled, and just really not great people in general. And so you go out to a classroom and watch the entirety of a One Piece arc. I think I watched, the Ghost arc. I forget what that was called even now. The one before the Summit battle, Summit War. Watch that all in one night and probably stay in a classroom up until 3 a.m. Get back to your room, stand outside the doorway for another 30 minutes because I hated being in a room with those people. So then I really just stopped caring about what they thought of me and what their needs were because they clearly did not care about me. And that was significantly better for my health. So the first semester in general was pretty good. I felt good about what I was doing. I felt good about what was going on. And then the second semester hit, and the first half was perfectly fine as well. I was getting ahead, I felt like I was learning, I was doing a lot of things, hockey was going really well. And then, right before I went to nationals, it all just started going downhill. And I don't want to get into details because I've talked about it so many times, and I'm still very, very upset about what happened and devastated. But happens, then I had to go miss a week of school. I had to make up two exams, quizzes, homeworks. I had to search for a job. It was the most stressful spring break I've ever been on. Like, everything just started going downhill and farther and farther and farther. Then I get to a point where, like, okay, maybe it's fine. Maybe I'll at least be able to have a roommate who I like. I'll be able to have my own space. Then the administration screws me over, and now I have to live with another forced triple, probably in random. Unless, probably what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a note from my doctor saying that my mental health will actively decline if I'm in a room with more than myself. Because it is significantly bad, or it is so bad for my mental health to be in a place like that, that it is actively being bad for my physical health and my academics. And that's kind of what happened, is that it was just not good, not fun. I started having a really hard time trying to do work, to do things, to retain information, I couldn't go to the gym. I felt like I was so far behind at all times. So I finally decided that I needed to take a break. And I got sick. Flights got delayed. I had a great time when I was out there with my friends, but that made me miss 2 more days of school. And it kind of sucked, that having all that. Then I come back and finals were fine, but I already know what grade I got in one of my classes, and it's the worst grade that I've gotten so far at college, even though it's probably a really good grade to most people. But my standards are way too high for them to just be getting even a B+. And I mean, like, I got denied for one of the thing that I thought would set me up for life, that I was so prepared for, because I didn't get good enough grades. And now I'm at the point where I'm even getting worse grades because I can't deal with my mental health at this current moment, and I'm struggling at school. And it just makes it all worse, and so much worse. And get to the finals of the other class. Do I feel good about them? Yeah. Do I feel great about it and feel satisfied with my work? No, because I know I could have done better. But at that point in time, that's all I could have done. I studied as much as I could, but there was only so much that I could do up until that point. The burnout, the stress, just the pure disdain for the living environment that I was in, that was purely the root cause being my roommates. And disdain for the administration, who I feel like constantly throws me under the bus and screws me over because of a broken system based on luck. It's really hard to compare and understand how I feel about this year when these past 5 weeks, 6 weeks, actually 7 weeks, has been the hardest of my life so far. And I've always wanted to talk about this, and I'll definitely save it for later, but being who I am as a person, going through these struggles and figuring out a place where I am, figuring out friendships, working through hard classes with little support, going through mental hardships, I get disregarded a lot, where I feel that because of who I am as a person, I am seen as I should be dealing with it, or these things that I feel should not be a problem because of who I am. And other people who are probably having the same struggles I am but are different than I am are being seen and being helped and understood and accommodated for because of these. Yet because who I am and how I hold myself and the values I hold for myself and the fears that I have restricts me from allowing myself to do things and allowing myself to show that I'm going through a harder time than normal. And on top of that, people trying and people not understanding that I can have these struggles. And I want to talk about that at a time where it feels appropriate to talk about it, because I have some very, very strong opinions on this. Because I know, my closest friends know, they've been through these things, and it's always been tough. But now it's kind of the question of what comes next. I have my classes, I have a pretty good schedule. I'm trying to figure out if I can go abroad. But it doesn't feel earned. I don't usually at the end of the year, you're supposed to feel satisfied and excited for what's to come. What's going to go on next year? What's going to go on the summer? But I don't feel that. I'm just pissed off and angry. Am I angry at myself for not performing the best that I could? 100%, yeah. But am I angry at the administration at the school? Yes. I'm pissed off that these things just keep happening to me. And it's not that I have been doing things in a wrong way, that this feels as those that would make an explanation for why this would happen. Everything that has happened to me, flights get delayed, sicknesses, plans falling apart, have all been because of luck. And I just I need something to go wrong that makes sense that it goes wrong, at least. If something has to happen that goes wrong, have it be a reason, rather than just being, well, that just happened, I guess. Because I'm getting sick of it. And it just makes it so hard to look into the future and be excited for the classes I'm going to take. The plans that I have, because so far, everything that I've tried to do that has been fun, that has been something I look forward to, something I'm excited for, has had something go wrong. And that it's something that it went wrong has been out of my control. Just kind of sucks. And am I excited for things? 100% yes. I'm so excited to be on vacation. I'm excited to be doing some work with an agency that I really deeply appreciate and I think is great for the local communities. But I just want to be done for a while. And I feel like I keep having to think about going back to school, and I don't want to. I don't feel like today leaving school was not, I'm happy or I'm satisfied. I feel like there's unfinished business. There's things that I wanted to say to my teachers because I had so much fun in some of these classes. And I wanted to apologize to them because I wanted to be like, hey, stuff just went wrong for me for so long. And it made it so difficult for me to pay attention, to understand. And it unfortunately reflected in my grades. And I wanted to apologize because their classes were so fun, so interesting. And I couldn't show that I liked it because I just was going through some things. I wanted to curse out my roommates. I wanted to tell them how bad of a people they are, how much of an embarrassment they are to be adults in this society where you don't want to drink the tap water. So every week you buy a 36-pack of bottled water and leave the trash all over the room. How embarrassing that is. I'm still pissed off at them that I had to live with them. And I'm pissed off at this administration for forcing me to do that. Because as much as I say things went wrong because of happenstance and random chance, I can pin down to about a 50% of my suffering this year has been because of this roommates. And I don't want to talk about any more about them because it is unhealthy for me to just rant on and on. If I want to hear me complain, then I can just go back to what I was saying before in that time the video just called rant, because I really just went in on them. I think I went in on them twice or something, but I shouldn't be angry at them because they're done. I'm never going to have to see them or live with them ever again. Hopefully. And more interesting classes, less hard classes, getting back to playing hockey with a team. They're things I should be looking forward to, but it's so difficult to shrug off what happened and to shrug off all the endurement that I had to go through because I'm just angry at the school out of forcing me to do this and to be in these circumstances. And angry at me for not having the ability to speak up and say, hey, this is a problem. I can't live like this. And you're forcing me to be in this situation. I know you accommodate for other people who just get seasonal depression. And I'm in a situation where I'm actively sleep depriving myself because I feel so uncomfortable being in a room and a space with these gross human beings that I don't feel like that's a valid reason for me to get a mental health permission. There's so many things I want to talk about this, but it's not the right time to. And I know I've just been focusing a lot on the negative because really that's all I can think about in these current moments because that's all that's been happening to me. Where really, outside of the roommate issues, the first, 15 weeks, the first semester and a half, was actually really fun. It was a lot more fun than last year. Last year, I was figuring things out. I was understanding the college climate, understanding the course load, figuring out who I am, where I am in who I wanted to be in a college space. And I was figuring that out this year. But then the week before Nationals, that Friday before Nationals hit, and everything came undone. Which sucks. Because I was working so hard and making so much progress with a lot of things. I was going out with parties, I was hanging out with friends, I was doing more things with the team and creating greater relationships, and it just all fell apart. And I couldn't get back together. So I guess that's something I can look forward to, is that next year I have an amazing fall term and maybe go abroad and discover new culture, make new friends out somewhere else in the world and just explore. Because I hate the saying, and in this past weeks, I hate when people are saying if a door closes, another door opens. But maybe that's true. So many doors have closed, yet there's maybe a possibility that another one has opened because now I can go abroad. I can go see somewhere else because I really need to go see somewhere else. And I'll have a taste of it next week. I will be off on a family vacation somewhere else, somewhere far away and somewhere I've never been before. Be a great time to just relax, even though I disagree with the definition of relax, because traveling, doing things, hanging out with family is not relaxing. It's an activity. Constantly entertaining people and doing activities with family members specifically is entertaining because they always expect to be doing something. With friends, like when I was with my friends, we just sat in silence for a good hour and a half while I was doing homework and he was doing homework. And I'm on my phone, there's no expectation to entertain. Family members, there's an expectation to entertain, which is not wrong, but it is something you have to do. And so traveling, relaxing our definitions are a little bit different. So I'm excited to do that and to get off somewhere, but I'm hoping that I'll get maybe a couple of hours a day where I can be alone and there's no expectation of doing and entertaining people. But that'll be fun. Then I'm going to go see my friends, play some golf, come home, do a job, hopefully. There's still a lot of things that are going on, figuring out who is going to hire me, because there's like, at this this nonprofit that I want to work at, there's a bunch of people. It's a small nonprofit, but it handles a good amount of donations and grants for the local communities, and there's a bunch of different positions, and like I'm going to be an intern to one of the positions, but they have to figure out who I want to be an intern to. And then there's a bunch of other people around that in my local town that would like to hire me, if anything, because they know that I'm good with data and stuff like that, which will be interesting. And then my friends are going to come up. We're going to work a hockey camp to get together. It'll be my birthday. The first time in a really long time that I'll have friends here for my birthday, which kind of sounds sad, but you got to realize that when you all go to boarding school and then go away to college, you don't live in the same town. When you have a summer birthday, it kind of becomes a problem a bit. But they'll be here. We'll play more golf. We'll go down to my grandmother's country club where I grew up playing golf, and we'll play around together, which would be awesome. So there's a lot to look forward to in the summer. A lot of things that will go right, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to really get back on the workout grind, really get back into who I want to be, and really start focusing a lot on myself and my physical health a lot more, and my mental health a lot more. And I think the summer is a really, really good time to do it, because there's no expectation of quality of grade and quality of work. It is just, you do it, and it's right or it's wrong, and it will be good. So I think I'll be able to have a lot of good time for that. And then when I get to school, going abroad, thinking about summer internships again, that's all in the future. I don't have to deal with that. I get at least a month, pretty much. Well, less than a month, 3 weeks of straight not thinking about anything, which I say I want to be alone, but that's probably the thing I need the most, is to just not think at all and have an obligation to think and produce results. And that'll be really nice. So it's getting late. My dad's going to yell at me if I stay up too late, because he really wants me to get up early and do things, which is not going to happen. I regret to inform him. There's no way that I'm going to be forced to get up on my first day back. But really should be getting to bed. It'd be nice to sleep in my own bed, not have to wear AirPods, not have to wake up to two other people in a room and jump down to dirt on the floor. Be clean, be nice, clean clothes. I'm very happy to be home. It's been a rough couple of weeks, couple of months, but putting a stop to it. I'm gonna just get back on track. So I have things I can look forward to. A lot of fun things this summer. I'll just focus on that and just have a good time.